I'm Jean-Philippe Adam, I'm geophysicist for ELIS, based in Montpellier, south of France, and I will present you the highlights of the next release of PaleoScan. Okay, I will start by a very short presentation of the main feature on the next release of PaleoScan, who will be available really soon, and then I will switch directly to live demo. Okay, just starting with the presentation. What is the main feature of the next release of PaleoScan? First, we have implemented a new object into PaleoScan. This object, it's the watertight model. In fact, like this, we have a silt model between fault and horizons. And thanks to this object, we can create new objects like fault polygon or Allan diagram. Okay, I will present you this object. It's based, as you can see on the presentation, it's based on our sequence stratigraphy. And then we convert this sequence into a watertight model. Also, we have now implemented a cross-plot into our blending viewer. In fact, we have changed a little bit the visualization with our 2D viewer. Now the blending viewer, it's available for volume and horizon stack, like the current release of PaleoScan, but also for arbitrary line and horizons. And also, all these blending viewer are now manageable in 3D. Okay. And now on the right part of the blending viewer, you have access to a cross plot, and like this, you can create some classification, choose some area, and we have a retro mapping directly on the cross plot. And thanks to this, then you can create some geobody, extract some geobody into. You can display in 3D or save directly into the database, and you can also create some volume. Another new windows into PaleoScan, now it will be possible to do some spectral decomposition. Okay, in the current release of PaleoScan, you can do some frequency filtering with filter. On the new PaleoScan, it will be possible to, thanks to the cross navigation, display the trace on the cross navigation. And then from this trace, we compute the spectrogram thanks to 3 different methods, the short time Fourier transform, and then 2 different wavelet transform from Morlet and Ricoeur. And then you have the preview on the right part. And if you want, you can map this spectral decomposition on horizons or horizon stack, like in the PowerPoint. And of course, you can display this spectral decomposition into the 3D viewer. Okay. A new feature also, it's the velocity modeling and the real-time depth conversion. In fact, at the beginning, you have your seismic, you do your interpretations thanks to the model grid, and then thanks to the 3D geomodel, like this. And based on this model, and thanks to the sequence stratigraphy, we can define a velocity for each layer. Okay, and then we can display, for example, like this. Okay, you have the sequence, the horizon of the sequence of the crate into the StratiViewer, and then between each layer, we can affect one velocity. And like this, we can in real time make a depth conversion and make a depth stretching of your volume. Okay, and what is interesting, it's in real time. Okay, because it's based on our StratiViewer. You can add some layer, you can define more layer, and you can change the velocity. Everything is updating directly on the fly. Just a few points also about the connector. Now we have connector with GeoTheorix, just to exchange geological time model, horizon, and fault in the 2-way. Like this, you can, for example, create your horizon stack into PaleoScan and then send your horizons into GeoTheorix, or make some noise cancellation into GeoTheorix and send this volume into PaleoScan, and then start your interpretation on this volume. And we have also a decision space connector available for this release of PaleoScan, and the 10 AP3 will be available in few days. Okay, I just finished with the presentation. It was just a short presentation. I directly switch to the live demo. Okay, before to show you the feature, the main feature I show you during the presentation, I will just start by some new platform tool. Okay, first I will just open my Seismic. Okay, just a presentation. I will switch my project during this presentation. I will start with this project. It's Maui project. It's New Zealand dataset, Tanariki Basin. Okay. On the current release of PaleoScan, if you want to synchronize a 2D viewer with a 3D viewer, it's not possible. Okay, and especially for presentation, if you want to scroll and move in the same time a 2D viewer and 3D viewer, it's not possible. Okay, on the next release of PaleoScan, if you right-click on the top bar, you can display 2D view and 3D view. It's already available, or you have access from the shortcut F3 to this option. And you will have a new warning message. Do you want to synchronize 2D viewer with 3D viewer? Okay. If I click on yes, okay, I just tile my windows, just change the orientation of my 3D viewer. Okay, now, in fact, if I move my 2D viewer, I change the current frame of my viewer, like this, or I can use directly the volume manager. In real time, I move my 3D object, okay? And this synchronization, it's not only available for the inline or cross-line frame. I can also change, for example, this color bar, okay? And as you can see, the viewer and the 3D object are updating directly on the fly and link. Exactly the same for the real-time attributes. Okay, if I click into the viewer, then I have access to the property of this viewer, and I can switch to display a real-time attribute, for example, the RMS amplitude. And if I change the vertical windows, okay, the two viewers are linked, okay, and I can still navigate, okay, exactly the same. If you just select the object into the 3D viewer, okay, it's exactly the same. It's not only from the 2D viewer, it's the two sides, okay, also from the 3D viewer. Okay, this synchronization is also available for Horizon Stack. Okay, if I open my Horizon Stack, okay, exactly the same way I can display. Okay, I have the same warning message. I can synchronize. I will just tile my windows. And exactly the same way, I can just scroll and I move directly my Horizon Stack into the 3D viewer. Okay. Like this, I can change the color bar if I need. Okay. The 3D object and the viewer now are linked. Okay. Very useful for presentation, especially for Horizon Stack. Okay, because you can, with the 2D viewer, you can have very nice visualization, but you don't have exactly the intersection with your Seismic like this. You just have to scroll, and everything is updating on the fly. Okay. Now, because I have the 3D viewer open, I will continue with the 3D viewer. Okay, just maximize my 3D viewer. On this release of PaleoScan, we have worked a lot into the for the 3D viewer. Okay, for example, if I drag and drop a model, okay, if I zoom in, as you can see, the visualization of the model is exactly the same as a 2D viewer. In fact, if you select the object, we have played on the interpolation method of the model, and if you remember on your release of PaleoScan, you have this kind of effect, not like this one, but you have this kind of effect with some pixelization effect. Now we have exactly the same interpolation between 2D and 3D, And like this, you have exactly the same display between 2D viewer and 3D viewer. And like this, you have a much more better visualization of your 3D object. Also, okay, I will just switch to the scening attributes. We have played with the transparency based on the amplitude for the 3D viewer. Okay, if I just click on this or this button, and then I can play with the red triangle, I can play with the transparency of my object, and of course I can navigate just to display a part of the amplitude of my, in this case, of my scening attributes of each object. Sorry. If I navigate on this horizon stack, for example, I have very clear channel just on this part. Okay, I can do exactly the same with my horizon stack. Okay, and then playing with the red triangle with the amplitude, I can display just a part of my horizon stack like this. Okay, and of course, if you want, you can drag and drop a new horizon stack and then navigate below just to have, okay, like this, you keep the transparency of the first one and the display of the second one below this horizon stack. Okay. Also, for the 3D viewer, on the current release of PaleoScan, if you just right-click, you can have access to new 3D cube, and you can display the volume as a cube. Okay, if I just navigate like this, I display my volume as a cube. I can change each inline, cross line, and time slice. Okay, this is for the current release of PaleoScan. On the next one, okay, I just right-click. I have just under, I have new sculpted 3D cube. In fact, it's exactly the same principle, but we replace the time slice by horizon stack. Okay, I will use an horizon stack. Just drag and drop my horizon stack. Okay, and then exactly like the time slice, I can navigate, okay, and sculpt my volume using my horizon stack. Okay, I have an effect just because it's the border of my seismic like this, and I can do exactly the same with the bottom horizons. Okay, and I can sculpt my seismic using horizons, save horizons or horizon stack. Okay, also, if I select the volume or one horizons, I can switch the real-time attributes. Okay, for example, I can display the RMS amplitude, I can display seismic relief, okay, and change. Okay, and exactly the same for the horizons with the surfacic attributes. Okay, like this, I can display the dip, and I can navigate and sculpt the volume using horizons with real-time attributes and volume with real-time attributes. Okay, concerning the 3D viewer, I finish. I will just, because we have, okay, I will just remove the display of some objects. Okay, I will just come back to my horizon stack. As you can see on this dataset, we have many and many channels and events. Okay, like this. I have extracted some channel using the amplitude or manual extraction before. Okay, and like this, I have saved all this geobody. I can drag and drop to have the display. Okay. And now, on the current release of PaleoScan, if you want to know the volume or the surface of each geobody, you have to do one by one. Okay. On the new one, if you right-click, yeah, you can just select one or select all. Okay, I will select all directly. If you right-click on a geobody, you have access to the context menu of this geobody, and you have one geobody classification. Okay, if you click on geobody classification, then you have a table with all the geobody choose for the classification. Okay, and you can sort by volume, by surface. Okay, of course you can change the unit. Okay, if you want to display as barrel or square feet, okay, you can change the unit display. Concerning this parameter, because my seismic is in time, I need a conversion to compute the volume between time and depth. If your volume is in depth and you create your geobody using this volume, no need to. In fact, this part it's not available. Okay, it's you will not have this conversion. Okay, just one thing more on this project. Okay, as I explained during the PowerPoint presentation, if you go under Attributes on the current release of PaleoScan, you have this tool to do some frequency decomposition. You just have to drag and drop your seismic, and then you can play with the filter like this. And on the right part, you have the original input and the preview. And like this, you can create several filters. Just one point, on the new one, you have this area of interest selection, and you can select an area, and PaleoScan compute directly on the fly the new amplitude spectrum and update the amplitude spectrum on this area. Okay, this is for the current release of PaleoScan. On the next one, okay, exactly same thing. You just drag and drop your seismic. Okay, I just remove the intersection of the geobody. And then, using the cross navigation, okay, you can cross navigate like this. PaleoScan will display the trace on the cross navigation and compute the spectrogram thanks to 3 different methods. Okay, the short-term Fourier transform, you can change the window size, or using continuous wavelet with Morley or Ricker. Okay, I will use Morley, and then you can cross navigate to compute your spectrogram. But as you can see, this interface is based on the cross navigation. It's really useful if you have already some horizon stack. Just organize my windows. Okay, just go down. For example, if I can just identify some channels, and then I can cross navigate. And because it's due to the cross navigation, sorry, you can cross navigate, and the spectral decomposition windows is focused directly on the yellow dot and computes the spectrogram for my channel. Okay. Okay. Now I find the channel directly on my horizon stack. Okay, like this. And then I can pick, if I want to do some color blending, 3 different spectral decomposition like this. And as you can see on the right part, I have the preview of the decomposition in real time. Okay, if I activate the advanced interpretation add-on module, I can send this 3 spectral decomposition into the color blending, and I can display, okay, the 3 different spectral decomposition on the color blending. Okay, if I just style, what it's really interesting, if I move one spectral decomposition, it's linked to my color blending, and I can adjust directly using spectral decomposition. Okay. Okay, it's good, but with real-time attribute, I can only do on inline and crossline. Okay, if I want to display my color blending into time slice or horizons, I need to create the volume. Okay, I can create the volume, and this volume will be stored under the database. Okay, like this, I have create, and I have mapped my 3 spectral decomposition on horizon stack. Okay. Now, if I want, I can go under color blending, just like, and then I just have to drag and drop exactly as before my 3 spectral decomposition. Okay, and because it's an horizon stack, I can navigate. Okay, just a little tool, but really interesting. On the current release of PaleoScan, if you want to init the color bar of the color blending, you have to click on each channel one by one. Okay, on the new one, you just have to click on the main one, and you have an init all button just to init the 3 channels in the same time. And like this, you can navigate into your horizons. And of course, like the current release of PaleoScan, if you want, you can display your horizon stack into the 3D viewer. Okay. Okay. Okay, I finish with this project. I will just close all my windows. Okay. I remove all my objects. Okay, I will switch to another project. Okay, not so far. The new project will be an Australian dataset. It's XMOOS data. We'll just show you the seismic. Okay, and now I will show you a new tool for the model grid. Okay, for example, with the model grid, if you have picked many nodes, many faults, you can have some little patches of horizon, and it can be time-consuming to have a very good 3D model into this area. Okay, I will just go under model grid and start the auto inter. Okay, just organize my windows. First, as you can see, also we have a new horizon list on the left part. Okay, you still have access to all your horizons done automatically by PaleoScan. But this interface is much more user-friendly. You can sort by area, by polarity, by name, by type of horizon. And also, if you right-click on the horizon, you can mark, you can save, you can export directly from the horizon listing. Okay, we have much more action available directly from the horizon listing. Okay, we'll just close. I don't need for the next tool. Okay. If I try to interpret this area, okay, for example, this one, okay, due to the faults, as you can see, my interpretation is split in different areas. Okay, I can just put my seed and try to connect all these patches of horizons all together, like this. Okay. Okay, like this. Just maybe do a little bit more on this area. Okay, perfect. Okay, as you can see, I have to connect patches of horizons all together. Okay, I just mark my horizons, and if I just make a model, preview of the model, okay, sometimes it's not complete, it's not geologically consistent, and due to this, especially on faulted area, you will have to make a lot of horizon on this area. Okay, now we have a new workflow. If you go under model grid specific toolbar, okay, we have this new button. In fact, if you click on init, you initialize this new workflow. You have 2 different types. I will show you for faulted area, but in fact, it's based on the thickness of your horizons. If you have layer cake environments, you can use in different cases. Okay, we'll just use the faulted area. I click on apply. You have a warning message. In fact, it's a warning message of the effects of this workflow. I will disconnect everything except the mark horizon, the one I has done just before. Okay, and then, okay, I will explain during the computation, and then I will do an automatic propagation for the full grid, but with a very high correlation threshold. Like this, I will just keep connection between nodes with very high correlation. Okay, just few seconds, and then I will just activate my horizon, like if I edit the horizons. Okay, sorry, just few seconds. Okay, now it's finished. I will just show you my model grid. Okay, if I just zoom in, you see I have my horizons and only few connections with very high correlation. Okay, and now if I activate my horizons and just put my seed and press W, I can choose to get the lower horizon or the upper horizon. Just start from this horizon, and I can try to go up and down with the same shape of horizon, the same thickness variation. Okay, and like this, I can insert very quickly many constraints into my model. Okay, just one thing, as you can see, I just click. In fact, what it's really interesting, you still have the full control. Okay, it's a model grid horizon. Okay, if I'm not happy with one part, I can erase one part like this. Okay, I can undo, I can redo, I can, if I need more connection, I can connect with some part of horizon. Okay, I just have to press W and I can connect. You still have the full control of your interpretation. Okay, like this. Yeah. How we create the horizon? In fact, we just we have the active horizon in the yellow. Yeah. Sorry, the button. Yes, I just click get lower or upper horizons. We just try to find the nearest horizons above or below with the same shape of horizons, and we try to connect a new horizon with the same shape and same thickness. Yeah, and exactly the same. Okay, I can go down again. Okay, and if I reactivate the first one, I can go into the other direction, get the upper horizons, and like this I insert many constraints into my model. Okay, for example, this one is quite interesting. Okay, if I want, I can, for example, just put just this, add this link into my horizon, and then I can go in the other way, and like this I will add this constraint for all the horizons below. Okay, and like this, especially in this case for faulted area, you can constrain your model. Okay, but this thing work with any kind of layer cake data. Okay, and now if I just activate the preview, I just want to show you the position line. Okay, as you can see, now I have a very good model for my fault area on this part. Okay, just one comment. I use faults to constrain this model. It's why we have some gap on the fault. Okay, this workflow can also help if you don't want to pick the fault. Okay, because if you don't pick the fault, you can edit run horizons. Okay, it will be time consuming. Maybe you will have to remove some parts, some misconnection, disconnect. But then, if you go up and down, because you will keep the same shape like this, you can constrain your model grid even if you don't insert the fault at the beginning. Okay, I finish with these data sets. I will just switch to another one. Okay, just close. Okay, no need to save. Okay, I just switched to the KO5 project. It's a North Sea volume, north of Netherlands. Okay, as I explained during the PowerPoint presentation, we have changed a little bit our blending viewer. It's still possible to do volume and horizon stack blending viewer, but now it's also possible to do arbitrary line and horizon blending viewer. Okay, just one comment. Just drag and drop and yeah, thinning, for example. Okay, we have just changed. No, it's not on the upper part, it's on the left part. And you have directly access to all the filter directly on the overlay, just right here. And then you can, we manage also all the blending directly into the 3D viewer. Okay, if I select the object, I can change the transparency between my two volumes directly into the 3D viewer. Okay, just close. Okay, in fact, we change our blending viewer to implement cross-plot for the new release. Okay, I will just show you cross-plot on volume, but it's available for all the objects. Okay, I will drag and drop my acoustic impedance volume and my interval velocity volume. Okay, and in this case, I want to extract a salt directly on this part. Okay, if I want to activate the crossplot, I just have to click on the right part on crossplot, and I activate this. Okay, I will just try to maximize the windows just to have better visualization. Okay, and now I can compute the crossplot using 2D or 3D. Okay, if I use 2D, in fact, I will just compute the crossplot on the current frame, the frame display on the viewer. Okay, if I click on Update Crossplot, I compute the crossplot, and if I scroll, I compute using the new frame of the crossplot. If I want, I can create a polyline just to compute the crossplot into my polyline. But because we work with 3D objects, you can do some 3D selection like this. For example, you can drag and drop an horizon stack, and then I have the upper limit and the lower limit available from this interface. Okay, I can also use a box, okay, a custom box like this, and then, okay, I can mix the two selections. Okay, as you can see, now I have the custom box activate and the horizon stack. Okay, the two buttons turn green, that means it's activated. Okay, and like this I can update the crossplot and compute my crossplot. Okay, good. But now, okay, just one point on the crossplot. If I click inside, I have access to the property. If I want, I can display or not the points, display or not the density map. Okay. Concerning the density map, it's linked to the color bar. I can change. Okay. And then, okay, now I want to locate the salt into my crossplot. Okay, I have different tools to create selection. I just make a selection into the crossplot, and then I can click on show. And like this, I have the location of the crossplot. Okay, I have a question concerning the exports of the crossplot image. In fact, like all the viewer of PaleoScan, if you click inside and you press Ctrl+C, then you can copy on your PowerPoint. But we don't have another tool, or you can do a screenshot. Yes, a screenshot exactly. Yes. Okay, and then yes, you make your selection, and as you can see, for the salt, it's directly. I have the location of the salt. Okay. If I want, I can switch to the other part. It's the class selection, and like this, I can just select a part of the point, and directly, I have the retro mapping of the class just on the left part on the blending viewer. If I want, I can create as many classes as I want, like this. Okay. If I want, I can select two classes. I can merge two classes. I can split. Split, sorry, I don't click. I can change the color. I can rename. Okay, I can really change the selection of the class. Okay, I will just keep this one, and then the next step is to create a geobody or a volume. Okay, exactly the same. If you want, you can just select an area like this and then extract as geobody or volume. Okay, I will just, I don't have the time to compute the geobody of salt. It takes few minutes, and I have other points to show during the webinar session. But you just have to create geobody, and then you can create your geobody. Just few things. I show you the cross plot with 2 channels. If you go under the color blending, you have also access to the cross plot with 3 channels. Okay, and it can be done on different objects: arbitrary line, horizon stack, or volume. Okay, just close the windows. A last thing, yeah, I have just a problem of visualization. Yeah. A last thing on this project, as I explained during the PowerPoint, we can also do some real-time depth stretching and depth conversion. Okay, if it's based on the sequence stratigraphy. Okay, I have already saved one sequence. Okay, this is my StratiViewer. Since PaleoScan 2016, it's possible to change the litho. You can also, as you know, display the stratigraphic column with the unconformity. Okay, but now, if you activate the time depth add-on license and you select one layer like this, you have access to the velocity modeling overlay. And like this, you can change the velocity for each layer. For example, you can choose constant, linear from the top, or from well logs. Okay, I have already choose a velocity for each layer like this. Okay, and if I want, I can make a preview. Okay, I will just undisplay the strati, and then, okay, for example, thinning. This is my velocity model. If I want, I can save and export this velocity model. Also, if I click on this one, okay, if I don't want to click on all my layer, I can choose the velocity from this table. Okay, just come back to the strati, and exactly as the cross plot now, I have depth stretching bar on the right part. Just click on this one, and for the moment, I have my volume with my sequence in time and my volume in time. Okay, and if I press T, like the shortcut to switch with the Wheeler domain on the depth stretching, I can depth stretch, and now I have my volume in depth. Okay, but what is really interesting, I can still create new sequence or define more sequence on the right part. Or, for example, I'm not happy with the velocity of the salt. Just double click on the salt. I change, okay, with a constant velocity, and I say, okay, I want 5,000 for the velocity. Okay, meter per second. Okay, or I can change the velocity. Everything is updating on the fly. Okay, and okay, I will just come back to the time domain. Okay, just want to display some horizons. Okay, for example, I display some horizons. Okay, I will just, from the settings, I will just switch. I can change, the horizons. Sorry, I have one question on the chat. I just check. I change the intersection to have a bigger intersection with my horizons. Okay, and now I will just load the fault also. Okay, I drag and drop the fault. Okay, for the moment, I'm stay in time domain. Okay, and now if I switch from time to depth, directly the display of the fault and horizons are updating to my depth domain. Okay, like this, and then I can save the volume, the depth volume, and I can save the depth volume. I can save the velocity model, and also if I want, I can drag and drop some horizon to save as depth horizons. Okay. as you can see, it's user-friendly, it's real-time, you can change and check your velocity model with the depth volume directly in real time. Okay. Last point concerning the new feature. I will switch again. Sorry, like this you have all our presentation projects to another project. I will switch to FO3. It's also a North Sea volume. Okay. Also based on the sequence stratigraphy, you can create what we call a watertight model. Okay, I will just create a new sequence this time. Okay, I just have to choose my model like this. Okay, of course we play with seismic. I will drag and drop the seismic, and then I will create a new sequence. Okay, can create a new sequence. Okay, just very quickly with few horizons. Okay, I can create my sequence. Okay, now on the sequence stratigraphy toolbar, you have this new button, and you can click to create your watertight model. Okay, no need to define the watertight model on the full volume. I will just make a selection of the area. And this watertight model is very useful to have the exact intersection between fault and horizon. Due to this, I have to load the fault. Okay, and then I just click on OK to create my model. Okay, just a few seconds to compute my model. Okay, and with this model, compare to a 3D model where we smooth the horizons. Like this, you don't have exactly the same truncation between fault and horizons. With this model, we incorporate the fault directly on the model. Okay, we'll just try to zoom in to find a good example just right here. I don't know if you can see this horizon, it's red, it's my horizon from my model. Okay, because due to the smooth during the 3D model computation, as you can see, we don't respect exactly the truncation between fault and horizon. With this model, we incorporate the fault and we interpolate to have exactly the truncation between fault and horizons. And like this, okay, with this object contain horizon and fault directly on the same object. Okay, I will just show you the 3D object. I can navigate on this object on 3D. Okay, exactly the same for horizons. Okay, yeah, sorry, like this. Okay, it's a 3D object. And then, if I'm not happy, because it comes from a sequence stratigraphy, if I want, I can reactivate the sequence. Okay, I want more sequence. Okay, I want much more detail for the layer. I just create more sequence like this, and I click on the same button. Okay, I just have to drag and drop the fault again. Choose my area like this. Click on OK. Okay, if I want to replace my watertight model. And Paleoscan will recompute a new watertight model. Okay, now I just deactivate the strati again, and now I have my watertight model, but with much more layer. Okay, and I can still navigate like this into the model. Okay, what is really interesting with this object, okay, if I just select one horizon, for example this one, I can, okay, from the watertight toolbar, I can extract these horizons. Okay, but because we interpolate to have the exact truncation, this horizon can be multi-Z. Compared to all the other objects of PaleoScan, I can have a multi-Z horizons. Okay? And also, thanks to this object, again on this horizon, if I select all the faults, I can create the full polygon for this horizon. Okay, I deactivate again, the watertight model. I deactivate my horizons, and now I have the full polygon for this horizon and all these faults. Okay, if I want, I can select this full polygon and save. Okay, it will be saved as sculptural data. And also, because now we have exact truncation between fault and horizons. Okay, if I come back to the watertight model, if I select one fault and I select some layer like this, okay, I can create some Allan diagram. Yeah, sorry, I have to select the fault like this. I can compute some Allan diagram, and now I have the display of hanging wood and footwall, and I can cross navigate to check if I have any connection between my layer. Okay, if you select a layer, you have the display of the layer, and you can check if you have some connection and between your layer. Okay, and quickly you can do your Allan diagram and display your Allan diagram thanks to this object.